Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. How do y'all feel? This crowd, I know most of you, and you're an excitable group, so let me ask you again. How do y'all feel? That's how I feel, too, because, you know, the success of the Los Angeles Film School is based on one thing, and that's the success of its alumni. And I am so, so proud of our school, and I'm so, so proud of our alumni, and I'm so happy to see so many faces here that I haven't seen for a long time. And I want to encourage you all, before you leave here, get a card from every single person, shake every single person's hand, because this is what it's all about, and we're going to learn more about how this whole thing has been working for the school in just a little bit. I am so pleased. Y'all know me, right? Okay. Joe Byron. I feel like I own the school, and I feel like I know you all, like you're all related to me. But I'm so excited to talk about something that's really, really amazing, and that is the 20th anniversary of our school. How amazing is that? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Before we do, though, I want you to kind of indulge me for just a minute, because I'm going to ask you all to do something for me. And first of all, I want to ask, if you've graduated either in 2019 or in 2018, would you please stand up? Okay, everybody look around. Remember these faces, okay? You can sit down. If you graduated in 2016 or 2017, would you please stand? Okay. Awesome. Let's say 2010 to 2015, stand up. Legacy, legacy. All right. 2005 to 2010. What year? 2008. That was a very good year. Okay. 2004. 2003. That's Morgan Sandler. I'm going to say a little bit more about him just a little bit. 2002. I love these guys. They know it too. They know it too. 2001. You're going to learn about Jessica really soon. 2000. That's Felicia Flick, who was in our second class. She started in November 1999. And she is one of the co-founders of the Los Angeles Film School Alumni Association. And we love Felicia. Okay. So we have a lot of people represented here. You younger people, latch on to the older people, and you older people, give some advice. I like to say that people come to meetings like this for two purposes: to brag or to look for work. And think about that for a minute. Put those two things together, wow, there's some action happening there. I mean, those of you who are here back in 2000, 2001, 2002, who would have ever thought? Back when there was a handful of us and we were passing gear back and forth from hand to hand. It was pretty great back then, and it's pretty great now. I remember so strongly coming into this place the first time when it was still under construction, and we had to wear hard hats to do a tour. And I was thinking, wow, I can see some great things that are happening here. And I'm looking at them right now, right here. You are the great things that happened. Speaking of great things that happen, I have the immense privilege to introduce someone to you that is very, very special. back in, I think it was 2003, I got a phone call from a gentleman who said that his boss, who was one of the chairman of Full Sail, which was called Full Sail College, I think back in those days, wanted to come and tour the school. And little did I know that like a year later that we would be in partnership with them. And I remember the first trip back to Orlando. And to me, it was kind of like, okay, now the Federation is going to meet the Klingons, okay? This is going to be really scary. We're about to be taken over. We're about to be kind of defeated, and kind of didn't know what to expect. But we got on campus. We were treated so beautifully. And I met some of the most amazing, talented, kind, and giving people that I ever met in my life. And one of the people that I met, and I remember going into this building that was kind of across the parking lot. They had a campus that started like as a strip mall and kept growing and growing and growing, and pretty soon it was like half the city of Winter Park, I think. But we went into this, and it was the career development department. And we didn't have anything like career development. You know, we were a certificate program. It was like, well, we want to make sure that you do okay, and we'd help you a little bit. But when I went to there and I was introduced to this woman, Tammy Elliot, and it was kind of like being in a press room, because she had a desk, and there were desks all around, and there were people on the phone, and they were calling, and we said, what happens here? And he said, this is where we're like sourcing jobs, and we're trying to make sure that our graduates find employment. And all these people are doing that? She said, yes. And I remember doing an open house there, and she was one of the speakers there, and she was really, really inspirational, because to her, and you could tell it was true and it was sincere, it was about the success of the alumni too. And this was 2003, and I was very impressed with this woman. And I got to tell you, I found out something that made me jump for joy, and that is, starting at the beginning of the year, Miss Tammy Elliot became president of the Los Angeles Film School. And after you meet Tammy, you'll realize, like I do, that we were the Klingons, okay? Tammy, come on up here.
What was the show with the Klingons again? Star Trek. Sorry. Hello, everyone. I'm Tammy. It's so good to be with you. I'm so freaking excited to be here with you. Holy cow. So I moved into your house about 11 weeks ago, okay? So I'm the rookie. I'm the new girl, right? But I have this thing that my heart is saying to say, and it's a little odd because I'm new in your home. For all of you that are here tonight, welcome home. Thank you for coming here tonight. Thank you for being a part of the legacy of this amazing, amazing school. And whether you had a vote or not, thank you for scooting over and letting me come in and move in. I really, really appreciate it. It's so wonderful to be here with you. I'm going to take just a few seconds with you because the important stuff is over there on the wall that you want to hear from tonight. So I am struck after being here for 11 weeks, very, very short period of time, after 27 years at Full Sail University. So I kind of grew up there, if you will. After 27 years there and having the privilege to come here to be with you, it strikes me as odd when people come up to me and they're like, so what is your vision for the school? The first thing I want to say is, hold up. I need a little bit of time because it's already happening. My vision is already happening here, and it's been happening here for 20 years. So the first thing I've got to do here is I got to be quiet, listen, and learn, because you guys are already doing it. You don't need my vision. You're already doing it. So for my first 11 weeks, that's what I've been doing. I've been meeting your staff and your faculty across the organization. I've been sitting in department meetings. I've been sitting in with one-on-ones. I call them knee-to-knees. I'm going to come closer to you, okay? Can I come to you? Okay, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to show you what a knee-to-knee is. Hold on. I want to get right here. I'm Caledonia. It's so nice to meet you. That's what I've been doing for the last 11 weeks. I'm hoping that I'm doing that for the next 20 years. That's what I love to do. So, but after I go to the fact of, this is their vision. I've got to learn what their vision is. But there are some fundamental truths that I know to be true that are in between our schools. We're very, very fundamentally the same. The first thing is passion, right? The passion is what brought you to school here. Passion is what carried you through. Passion is what is propelling your career. Passion is what got you to graduate. Passion is, just so you know, if you don't know this, passion is why we're here too. We love working on behalf of you. We love it so much. That's what we are called to. So that's our passion. So I can tell you right now, the first thing in my vision is to continue the passion that you've already started. You're already there. I'm going to run up along beside of you. The second is the same between the schools is discipline. I think any one of you that will talk to us about your careers, will talk about the level of discipline that one has to have in order to make the passion become a dream. You guys with me? We're going to promise you that just like we have been for the last 20 years, for the next 20 years, we're going to be disciplined. We're going to be disciplined. We're going to come here and work on your behalf every day. Because that is, number one, our passion. But number two, you earned it, you deserve it. That's what we need to be doing. And then the third piece that we're going to move with, that I have felt it in every meeting that I've had with your faculty and staff. I have felt it here in the lobby while I'm talking and meeting some of you, is we're going to move with grace. We're going to move with kindness for each other. We're going to care about each other. We're going to be respectful to each other. And if we can do our passion with a disciplined heart in a spirit of grace, ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing that we can't do. There is no dream that can't come true if we move that way. And that's what we're going to be doing at your school every day. That's our promise to you. That's my promise to you. And I hope that you'll just give me a little bit more time because I have to meet some more people at your school. I haven't met everyone, but over the course of time, I want you to know that that's what I'm rooted to, that's what your school is rooted to, and we will continue to do that together. Okay? Okay. Thank you so, so very much. Thank you for building this to this point, and thank you for letting me move in. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
See why I'm happy? As I said, this 20th anniversary is a really big deal. We are putting plans and we're executing plans right now to have celebrations every single month. Each month has a different theme. This month, because it's Women's History Month, we decided, and it's the Me Too movement, we embrace it. We love it. We know that diversity, different opinions, different attitudes, different cultures come together can produce something much more strong. So I'm not going to say too much more about the things that we're planning. We will have a kind of a climax week, which will be the second week of September, give or take. During that time, we'll be doing a lot of activities, and I want to really, really beseech you all to stay connected to the school. Become involved in the school. You may be called out for interviews. You may be, there may be a lot of things that you might be interesting. So pay attention, because we're really going to try to take advantage of this great time in the history of the school. I want to introduce to you all right now a person. I've known him for a very long time, and he, with a couple of other people that are in this room right now, shared a vision with me back some years ago in terms of organizing an association of alumni from the Los Angeles Film School, because we felt if we could get you all talking to each other and working with each other, that we could be a very, very powerful force in Hollywood. And it's happening. It's happening. I want to introduce Mr. Mario Novoa. Mario, certificate graduate of the LA Film School, associate of film graduate of the LA Film School, bachelor graduate from Full Sail, and president of the Los Angeles Film School Alumni Association, and an amazing person.
Thank you, Joe. I love you. I was a student here back in 2000, and I was looking for, before I got here, looking for an opportunity to go to film school. And the school had just opened up. And I just found myself in this amazing place. They gave us cameras. They told us what we could do, what we couldn't do, what rules not to break, which we broke anyway. But we didn't break the equipment. So we came here, and we established ourselves in Hollywood as a new school. And we were the representatives of this new school that was coming in between UCLA and USC. And it was a magical time for me because I never thought that I would get a chance to go to film school. And I don't come from a family that is rooted in the industry, but I really, really pushed myself to get here. And I'm very thankful, and I'm thankful enough to, even 20 years later, to be participating in the Alumni Association, which was founded from an idea, I think, from Joe back in 2005, 2006. We talked about it in 2009, and then we got an advisory team together to formulate what could look like an alumni association. Jessica Sterling, who's going to be on our panel tonight, and Felicia Flick, who's from the 2000 class. We all, and other alumni. Ellie? Yeah, Ellie was on the program board a few years after that. But at the inception, we didn't know what we were talking about. We didn't know where this was going to go. We just knew that we mattered as individuals, but you also mattered, and you needed a community, and that was the thing that propelled us to move forward. So we had this discussion on what it would be. So we began hosting mixers at every single bar, probably in Hollywood. We'd call people up. Felicia would call restaurants up and say, hey, we're getting together. It's an alumni association. We need a place. And they would give us a place, and we would start connecting with you guys. And we started listening to you guys in terms of what you were doing, what your needs were, and we were trying to address a lot of those issues. So a few years later, Ellie was part of the program board. David Ortiz, who just came in, was also part of the program board. And so this is a community that's built for you and by us. And we need your participation in every step of the way. And we need to address the things that matter in our industry. Some of the things that Joe mentioned, inclusion, diversity. And we also want to help you and encourage you as you launch your businesses and yourselves as freelance artists, creatives, entrepreneurs. And so I encourage all of you to keep participating. This is going to be an amazing 20th anniversary, and I already feel it. I didn't need coffee tonight because my heart is pounding so hard. Thank you very much for the time and the platform. Thank you for entertaining the idea of the Alumni Association, and thank you for coming. I will be available to talk to afterwards, and I'm looking forward to the panel discussion tonight. Thank you very much, LA Film School, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mario. I can't tell you how much work Mario and the others have done. I mean, working for free, we used to have meetings every month. It was really, really something. So I'm so grateful to know them and have them involved. I want to do a few call outs here. You may have noticed we have a table over here that says alumni author. You know, some of you may remember Morgan Sandler. Morgan, you want to stand up? How many of you had Morgan as an instructor? How many loved Morgan? How many didn't have Morgan as an instructor but loved Morgan? Okay, see? There's a lot of love in this room. Morgan has written an amazing book. I know. Visual storytelling. I just wanted to hear him say it. And he's got copies of his book, and it's an amazing book. It's got great reviews. You can buy it on Amazon, but stop by and visit and get a copy signed by Morgan now. So next month, I believe, is an actual National Book Month, and we're hoping to have more signings, because I have found we have about at least 24 that I know of other published authors who've come from our programs, and I think that's really awesome, including Julian here, who just gave me a copy of his book. Okay? Another call out I wanted to make, and he's not expecting this, is Mr. Tim Smith from Canon. Tim, would you stand up? Tim's not an alumni, but Felicia, you may remember Tim, because when Tech Workshop, he co-taught the XL1 class with me, okay? Tim Smith co-taught the very first class here in the Los Angeles Film School. He's currently and has been with Canon for a long time, and he's here because he's a great guy, so thank you, Tim. I have a black belt in name dropping, which is why I'm good in my job. But you can obviously see here that we've gone to a lot of places and our alumni are very successful. And we leave a lot of people out. So I want to make this point. It's very important. If you do something and you want the world to know about it, let us know. jbyron@lafilm.edu, or you can approach us through our marketing department. I want to put your all names on this reel too, okay? Y'all promise me? Someday, all of your names will be on our master reel. Awesome. It's a different world here at the LA Film School, and you can see that we really, really put a lot of pride in you all. The person who is at the helm of our career development department right now, the department that Tammy used to run in Full Sail, is an amazing woman. She's come in, she has revamped the way the school deals with, assists, mentors our graduates. You're very important to us. You will be important to us no matter how long you've been away. Our current graduates are very important to us. I'm talking about our Senior Director of Career Development, who's going to take over the rest of the evening tonight, and that is Angelia Bibbs Sanders.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you so much for coming. You know, I've joined LA Film about a year ago, and I think I've seen most of you, or a lot of you, over this last year at multiple alumni events. Haven't we grown? Isn't this beautiful? What a great stage. And I want to thank the entire Career Development Department. I get an opportunity to work alongside industry professionals that are every day working on your behalf as graduates of this institution to help you along your path and to realize your dreams. So I've got the best job here. But what I'm going to be doing tonight is the funnest part of it. I'm going to actually get to lead this panel and moderate this discussion that we're going to have with these beautiful women. So I'm going to ask our panelists to join us now on stage. This is our Women in Entertainment panel. And as Joe alluded to earlier, all of this panel was really all about Women's History Month, and we thought it was really important to honor the women who work in our field. So we want to start there. I'm going to put this microphone here. I think I can do this. Okay. Get seated. A couple of announcements before we get started. Jessica has a gig, and you know when you have a gig, you gotta go. So Jessica's only gonna be able to be with us for about the first half an hour of the panel. So if she sneaks off the stage, she's going to work, and we all, of course, will support that. Let's start, ladies, by self-introductions. Maybe I'll throw it to you first, Jessica, and talk to us a little bit about your path.
All right, I'm Jessica Sterling. I am a corporate event photographer. I do a lot of portraits. I do a lot of events. I've worked for AT&T, T-Mobile, DirecTV, the mayor's office, the Dodgers, blah, blah, blah. I photographed a lot of notable people like Justin Timberlake, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, blah, blah, blah.
That's important. Tell us about the program that where did you study here and what?
Okay. I love the LA Film School. I started here, I studied cinematography, and I worked in the film industry for about 5 years, and because such a diverse skill set that you get at the school, I got to work in many different aspects of the industry, assisting producers and directors, reading scripts and all that kind of stuff through development all the way through production. I got to do script supervising, product placement, all kinds of stuff. I ended up working, like I said, for producers, and then worked for a couple of great directors, and then decided that I kind of wanted to shift over into still photography, and I've been doing that now freelance for 13 years.
Wonderful. Jessica Sterling. Okay, Mernaz, talk to us.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad that I'm here with you all. My name is Mernaz Mohabbati. I'm originally from Iran. I studied here in LA Recording School, and I'm graduated on 2014. I do mostly ADR, dialogue editing, and mixing. And I've been working with names, but I'm not good with names, so we skip that part. You can search me online and see. Like, I work with Al Pacino and, like, you know, many other people. And what else I should say?
That's fine.
Yeah.
I think everybody will certainly, if they're not already looking at their device to find out your bio, they're looking you up now. Ellie, talk to us about your journey, and a part of your history is the Alumni Association, so that's come full circle.
Yeah. My name's Ellie Vainstock. I'm a 2008 graduate of the recording program. From the recording program, I started an internship, actually during the recording program, which I ended up staying at that same company for 10 plus years, which was at Viacom, and I ended up at Nickelodeon in the music department. So anything you can think of that a show needs or an event needs for music, our department handled. Mostly I handled original music and, you know, sourcing theme songs and underscore, and then going all the way to sourcing songs for artists to perform, being on set with different artists. It's just like anything, any award show, any TV show you can think Nickelodeon has, we touched it in some way. Licensing music for it as well, although we had a separate licensing team that actually did that part. But any live performances we were involved in, so.
Fantastic. Welcome back. Yes, thank you. All right, Kara.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kara Campbell, and I went to the LA Film School and graduated in August 2008. I was a directing and cinematography major. Bounced around on all different sides of the camera, from PA to production coordinator to PM. I ended up where I belonged because of the school, directing and producing online content for AOL and Huffington Post, until they sort of somewhat disbanded, or Verizon took over and AOL and Yahoo got together and did what the entertainment business does and sends you back out into the world to be a freelancer, so, which we'll talk about later, navigating the differences between a staff entertainment person, which is pretty much an oxymoron if you get that. It's like the best luck ever. But yeah, and then there's the rest of us who freelance. But I've worked with Ariana Huffington and Janelle Monáe and Missy Elliott and Denzel Washington and all sorts of cool people. So yeah.
What an impressive panel we've assembled, and all of these are graduates of this institution, so very inspiring. Thank you so much for coming out. Let's talk a little bit about the journey. Let's talk about what happened from the time that you left this institution until you became your full self, right? So maybe I'll throw that question out, and we'll start on the other end. Kara, if you wouldn't mind just talking about what was the journey like, both milestones and challenges?
I got lucky. It was one of those, you know, someone situations. My sister's roommate was I think he was a coordinator at the time. He may have been a PM. And I just started production assisting, and then you do a good job, you hustle, PA, so I did some PA jobs, and then I moved on to another gig where they needed a location manager. And since I had done a great job as a a PA, and was a hustler, I ended up doing locations for a show called I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant. I don't know if you guys have seen it. And on that show, there were 2 other film school students that I didn't know, but they had graduated, I think, just a month before me. So that it's just kind of one thing leads to another, and I ended up once again. Oh God, I wish my sister would move back from Boston and be here, because it was through someone she knew completely out of the entertainment industry who said it was, so her boss, my sister's boss at the time, I ran into her. She goes, I think my best friend is looking for someone who does what you do. And they needed a production coordinator at AOL, and I just went from coordinator to PM to producing and directing. So I guess it was a lot of right place at the right time, and don't screw up.
Oh, wonderful. Ellie, your journey was a little different. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, I would say, well, I started as an intern, and I was in the VH1 and Logos production management department. It was combined at the time. And somebody in the department got promoted, so I reached out and asked if her position was available. And at the time, luckily, I was finishing my schooling. So the timing, again, was just perfect. It was like it was there at the right time. And then a friend of mine who also, she's my sister's roommate, back in weird coincidence.
Call your sisters.
Yeah, my sister's not in the industry at all, but it was her roommate from college, and she recommended me to assist the VP of production right across the street here at Nick on Sunset when it used to be there. It's gone about a year or 2 now. So I was her assistant, and I just did anything she asked me to do. We managed the building, we painted, we went and bought, wallpaper, we managed the productions, we made the schedules, the calendars, the budgets. I got a lot of exposure into how production works from the executive side of the network, and I also dealt with everybody that was on set for our shows. So it was really like a lot of information all the time and never a dull moment. And then about a year and a half after helping her, she said, how can I help you? And so she kind of opened the door for me. But I did work really hard, and I did a lot of things that I was like, is this even related to entertainment? But it helped her. It helped her do her job better. And she helped me multiple times throughout my career at Nickelodeon. She just was always kind of my resource to talk to about what I was doing and where I wanted to go. And I always thought I wanted to be in the music studio, so she introduced me to the post team. I knew I didn't want to be on set, as a boom mic operator. I just couldn't do that all day. I knew that. So, and mixing is an art, and I was not that kind of artist. So, I'll be in the studio. So I went to the post team, and they had to rebrand a whole show. So they brought me over to the post team because basically the title didn't clear. So we had to go back through a whole season and look and see when they used that name throughout. It was a lot of work. Then I became the post coordinator on that show, then the music coordinator, which is where I wanted to be. Which was great. And then eventually ended up, that show was wrapping. I wasn't sure how many more music shows we were going to have. Reached back out to my mentor at Nick, and she hooked me up with the music attorney that was moving out from New York who needed an assistant. I thought, that's great. I'll be staff, I'll have benefits, it'll be great. Because I was freelance, I was ready for that. And anyway, so that ended up as a job in the music department eventually because they were ramping up. They actually had more music shows and more music properties coming and tours and all kinds of stuff, and they were branching more into the animation side of things where they weren't as involved before. And I ended up working with the VP and SVP of music and talent on their team. So it kind of was like I was always kind of looking for the opportunities, but because of my hard work and being there and having these relationships with people already, just kind of happens,
It sounds to me like I actually did hear the word mentor there. Oh, yeah. And I think we all should aspire to build our own mentor board. I call it kind of a personal board of mentors or your own personal board. That's very helpful as you're taking on and building your careers.
I actually call her my Nick mom. It's like my mom.
Mernaz, Iran is a very long way from Hollywood. Tell us about your journey and some of the perhaps obstacles or milestones to get here.
Yeah, that's a long story, but I try to make it short for sure. I start from there. When I was a kid, there was a war between Iraq and Iran, and my go-to was movies. And when I grew up and I had to choose a career, I decided I want to do sound for movies because I loved sound as well. And I decided, first of all, I start with music, but then I get to the sound. And being a woman and doing a sound in my country, it was a no-no. There wasn't any school to attend to. I wasn't lucky at that time. And I went to our famous sound engineer at that year, and they were all men, of course, and they were laughing at me, and they were like, a woman in this area? No, go find something else. And then I met a guy who's my husband right now.
That's another tactic.
And yeah, I started doing sound with him and learning from him. And I started doing music in my country, recording, mixing, mastering. I did some mastering and mixing in the school, by the way. And then we decided to come out and see how much we can do out of Iran, you know? And then when I came here, I was like, I want to go to movies now that I'm in Hollywood. And I found the school. I came to the school. I made sure that I'm learning everything. I'm using all my resources here. And I was in the school. I was telling her that I was in the school from 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. till they kicked me out, literally. And I found 2 great mentors. And then I got lucky, and the career development, Mr. James Barth, he helped me a lot. I was lucky to skip the internship because I was already, you know, an engineer before I came here. So I started in Artifact Studios doing sound design for Disney Infinity. And then from there, I went to Ugo Sound Studios, and I've been working with Runway, Ugo Sound, and many others as a mixer, dialogue editor, and the recording engineer.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, the little nugget that I heard there was that you had a relationship with your advisor, with James Barth. And so I'm going to recommend for everybody here, if you have not seen your advisor, the career development team is here tonight. Please, after this event is over, connect with your advisor. We're continuing to work on your behalf after you leave the institution. So thank you for mentioning James. He's been here for quite a while, and we appreciate him. Jessica, give us all of the info. Tell us about your journey.
Well, I was going to school, and one of my teachers was working at a production company as the head of the legal department, and I really got along well with her, and she said, maybe you'd like to intern, and I said, absolutely. So I was doing all the, working alongside legal students from other schools in the legal department of this production company. The head of the company, the head producer guy, ended up needing an assistant, and so I got the job before I even graduated. And then the woman who helped me get the internship, speaking of mentors, I'm a graduate from 2001, and we're still friends. And she's still my mentor, and so I really strongly recommend finding people that you admire and connecting up with them and learning as much as you can. But that's how I got my start.
Wonderful. So talk to me about relationships, and more importantly, talk to me about networking. And so I know, Jessica, this is an art, so let's start there, and then we'll go around the panel a little bit to see what everybody else does.
Well, okay. Nobody knows you, right? Like, there's millions of people in Los Angeles, and they maybe don't know you, so they don't know how great you are unless you stay in touch with them and unless you meet them and connect up with them and stay connected and kind of keep in front of mind. So I recommend very particularly that you write down a list of everybody that you know and get their email addresses and start staying in touch with them with email blasts and things like that. And it may sound pushy or like you're being name-droppy or weird, but just do it in a way that feels legitimate and comfortable for who you are, and just stay in touch, and you never know where that's going to go. I use a online database software company thingy called One Page CRM. It's a little plug for them. It's cheap, and it's a great way to keep in touch with all your sales leads. I am a one-man band, so I have to generate all my own leads and meet people, and it's very similar in any industry. You can't just get a job and then forget everybody that you ever met and fall away for 5 years, and then when you need a job suddenly you're like, I don't know anybody, so it really pays to stay in touch.
And I'm going to ask Ellie to talk about your experience with Jessica.
Yeah, so I met Jessica, I guess, at one of these before. Didn't really connect. I wasn't really looking for a photographer.
Like years ago.
Yeah, years ago. And suddenly I'm getting these emails lately, and I'm like, who is this person? I meet a lot of people, and working at events, you meet people that do photography and catering and whatever. So I'm like, these are great emails. I'll just keep them. And then we were connected on this panel. And I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, wait, I've been getting her emails for probably, I don't know, like a year now or so.
At least 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So, and then we ended up just meeting, right before this about a week ago and having coffee. And like, I do need a headshot now. There are things that come up. So like her presence and staying in my inbox and wherever else is just, it's one of those things that when you think of it, you'll be like, I do need that person. Now there's their name, I can pull it up on my phone or whatever it is, and it's a great person. And like learning a lot already from her. So.
Well, and social media is not enough, because you post something and people just don't see it. You have no control over it. So you have to find a way where you have control over your own communication and a way to reach out to people directly. And I've kind of started to fall in love with cold calling, which is scary and horrible. But I've gotten a lot of success. You call somebody up and people are so not used to talking to anybody on the phone. And they're surprised, and it's kind of nice. So, you kind of find a way to generate that, or meeting somebody face to face.
Don't be a stalker, though.
Don't be a stalker. I don't mean like that. I mean in a nice way,
Kara, let's talk about passion and commitment. I mean, you're a triple threat. You're an actor, you're a writer, you're a filmmaker. Talk about passion, focus, commitment.
Focus. Wow. That's actually been a word that I keep saying in my head lately, because there's always going to be a lot of noise, whether it's something like social media or people with their ideas about who you are, what you're capable of, a whole bunch of doubt, and we all have it, so we don't need other people giving more of it. So one of the things I'm passionate about and that I'm so committed to and focus, and I think Tammy mentioned discipline today also, is that as creatives, we have to generate our own discipline. We have to have, like my morning looks like this, and so there's something about discipline. But in terms of passion, I know you brought it up about how you escaped to movies. And, I think there could be a dark reason why you decided to become a filmmaker. I know that but to make something beautiful, right? I know that as a little kid, my parents fought a lot, and I wanted to escape to something that kind of taught me how to feel, how to be a human.
Same here.
Like, right?
Yeah.
And just the triumphant stories, like the hero's journey. I watched Superman as a little girl, and to me, being part of that human condition, from to be a storyteller, to me it goes back to telling camp stories or hieroglyphics. Like, it connects us to the human condition. And so for me, it's so much about being human and telling those stories over and over again, and also helping someone else maybe get through something. It's sort of, it can be therapeutic to tell a story and allow someone to laugh or cry. And I know that's what I got when I was little, and so I just want to be able to give that back to others.
Ellie, what drove your passion to make you want to work in music? How did that come about?
As a child, I was always listening to music. Like, it's just always been, it's like a through line for everything. My mom was a single mom, and I had to sit in back because my older sister always got the front seat. There was no way I was ever going to sit in front. So I never paid attention to what they were talking about. I was just listening to the music, and I would memorize every song and know 2 beats in, oh yeah, that's this song, and start singing. And then I performed through elementary school into high school, and drama and musical theater and those kind of things. It was always something. When I got to college at UC Santa Cruz, my undergrad degree, I wasn't sure what I wanted to major in. I took some music classes there, and they were very classically based, and I had never done any classical music. So I thought, okay, I can't do that. So I studied computer science just to be practical, and while I was doing that, I met a friend who had taken a class called the History of Electronic Music. And he introduced me to that class. It ended up being a minor for me. I did the whole program. And I could just sit in the studio for like hours, forget I had to go to another class for anything. I'd just like lose track of time, not eat, you just get in the moment and you're there. And then went and worked at a software company up there. It was near Silicon Valley. So I worked for a software company, and then my family opened up a real estate business here in LA, and they're like, we have to put everything online. We don't know how to do any of that. It's a little different time. And they were just overwhelmed with running the business and doing everything. So I came down and did that, ended up working in an escrow company and doing real estate, but I always was missing something. It wasn't my passion. I was just like, okay, it's a great opportunity to have a business. It's a great exposure. But one day I was looking through the LA Weekly, and the open house ad for the recording school was in there. It was like a full page, couldn't miss it. And I said, oh, let me go check it out. And immediately I was like, I'm going. This is it. This was my sign here, And that's, I think, you have to have something that you love, that you really want to spend your time on, because you're going to spend a lot of time on it. It's not like when you do it for a career, it's not necessarily a hobby. You can't just pick and choose when you want to work. So I think that it has to be something you absolutely want to be doing every day. You want to wake up and be like, yes, this is my day. This is what I'm doing. Or this is what I'm going to do today to work toward that thing. You have to have a plan going. So yeah, it's always kind of there.
Fantastic, thank you. Mernaz, when we talked earlier in the week, you talked about the different jobs that you have on different projects. And so we were trying to isolate kind of where your love and passion is. Yes. So talk about being a woman in recording and a mixer and sound engineer and sound editor. Talk to us about where you find your sweet spot. And are there a lot of women in the field?
Obviously not. I've been working in the studio called Ugo Sound Studios for 5 years, and I end up winning the assistant, who is a woman right now. But I was alone there in the manhood, for 5 years. And obviously I get used to it, and I surpassed that. Yeah. And also, I love mixing. Mixing is an art to me, and I love, because you have the hand, head, and heart for it. You need to involve all of them to be a good mixer. And what I learned is becoming a mixer, no matter if you are a woman or a man, it's a different island. And you need to walk through some sort of steps to get to there. So one of the things is helping you to be a great mixer is dialogue editing. So I get to the dialogue editing. And when you're doing dialogue editing and you become supervisor in dialogue editing, then you need to run the ADR sessions. So I become an ADR engineer in that area. And it's all chained together. It's nothing out of your area. And also, I fell in love with dialogue editing. I didn't like it at the beginning. Even when I went for the interview for the studio I'm working in, I said, I can do anything except dialogue editing. And the guy told me, oh, I just needed a dialogue editor. I was like, okay, I can learn.
So that's another nugget, guys.
Yeah.
When somebody asks you if you do something, sometimes you just say yes, and you go home and figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So
but I was so good in mixing or something else that, I didn't want to lose that. That's why I said, I just don't know that one.
Yeah.
And I'm always honest. I don't tell lie about my ability and what can I do, what can't I do. Yeah. So he ends up believing in me, and he said, okay, let's start for a month. And I've been there forever.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Jessica, cinematography. How did that translate to now loving still photography? And talk about that journey for you. And you've taken some of the biggest names in the business. And so how satisfying is that for you?
Well, I actually wanted to be a film director when I started out, but I thought I wanted to understand all the pieces that come together to make that happen. And the visual aspect is something that I'm very comfortable with. I've drawn my whole life. My mom's a graphic designer, so I kind of come through it honestly. But the way that something is framed to help express an idea or tell a story is something that I wanted to understand better. And I think to me it's a natural transition from cinematography and expressing, feelings and concepts through the way that people are standing, the way that they're lit, and then expressing those ideas. It's the same darn thing. I love being a still photographer now because I get to meet all kinds of people and go interesting places. I got to be on a 60-foot high up crane and photograph 250 construction workers. It was like, standing on the top of a gas power plant. So I've gotten to meet some really neat people. It's just kind of a great avenue and a passport into different people's lives. And I love helping. Not everyone's an artist, and if you are, you have, I feel, it's a gift, and it's something that, like I said, not everybody has. So you kind of owe it to society to do your best work and to help communicate beautiful ideas, because I feel that artists make the future. And I forget whatever else I was going to say, but there you go.
Wonderful. We're just about to conclude this portion of our evening. The second half of the evening will be, these ladies have agreed to hang out afterwards and meet with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to escort them in just a few minutes out to the main lobby so that you can come up to them and speak with them. As you know, Jessica has to run, but you agreed to...
My email address is contact@jessicasterling.com, and I'd love to hear from any LA Film School or Recording School students or alumni.
Yeah, as headshot is essential, so at the very least, figure that piece of it out. The last segment of the program is really dedicated to, takeaway. What are some tangible takeaways that you guys can impart on our grads? You saw a lot of the grads stand up from the 2018 and 2019 classes, so they're ready to get out there and get to working. So, Jessica, why don't you close by giving us anything, what have you learned, and what would you like to leave with our students and grads?
Persistence, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you're building relationships, you're building like a house, it's not just something where you're just like, hey, I showed up and now what? How come I'm not famous? So it may take a little bit of time, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful construct that you're making. It's your life. Stay in love with what you do.
Fantastic. Thank you. Renez.
As I told you before, I want to bold what I think it's really important. It's if you go as an intern to somewhere, no matter what they give you, they are watching you already through the glass, Before you go into the studio, you need to make sure you do everything and go above and beyond for it. We've been having lots of interns, like in 5 years, and in all of them, we end up to keep one of them, which it was really rare because we weren't even thinking about having another assistant in our studio, but she was really good. And, and on the other hand, at the same time, we had a guy who was an intern as well, and we asked him to do some copies for a very important ADR session, and he didn't notice, and he missed 3 pages, and it could cost us a lot if I wasn't checking just out of habit, So be careful, make sure you do whatever they give you, bringing a coffee or making a copies or, I don't know, cleaning a session, whatever. Just make sure you do it really good.
Thank you. Ellie.
Well, I'm sure a lot of the people that have worked in the industry that are here tonight know that there are a lot of jobs. There's a lot of different opportunities out there, and while you may have your mind set on one thing, you never know where you're going to end up. You never know who's going to be your boss that you're working with. So I always think about it that way, and just, to be nice to people, work hard, deliver, check your work, just like she said, because, mistakes cost a lot of money, and you don't want them pointing at you when there's a mistake. Being on set is very expensive by the hour, so just keep that in mind. And I think, just appreciate the fact that you have, if you don't have experience, you're going to have to get that. You're not going to just walk in the door and they're going to give you, the office on the top floor. It's not going to happen. So I think just be respectful to everyone, work hard, and just believe in yourself and be confident that, you can do these things. I know I'm sort of newly freelanced, if you will, because I was over 10 years at the same company, and I'm doing the exact same thing, and it's totally not my comfort zone because I was so used to just meeting people every day at work and talking to different departments when I needed to. I was very well versed in the company, but now I'm outside, and it's a different experience, and it's hard, but it's also, like she said, you're discovering yourself, so don't turn down the little jobs because they could lead to something one day. That would be what I would say.
Very nice. And to close this out, my dear.
I'm all hooked up. Okay. I was gonna say, and I kind of said it before about not letting anybody else limit you. If you're a writer-director or a writer-actress or director-editor, I've been on all sorts of sets. With Larry David, he's a creator, and Rachel Bloom, the writer-actress of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and Issa Rae of Insecure, and I was gonna say that, and I am saying it. Don't let anybody limit you if you're a hyphenate. But what I really want to say, especially because of this school, we're all representing the school when we show up, when we're on set, and I know that SC has a certain pretense and idea about it, and maybe UCLA also. And what I liked most about this school is that, and I got it on set before. Also, is that we're workers. You show up to set, you're going to be in black because you're in production or what have you, but you're there and you hustle and don't have an air about you. A worker doesn't have an air. They don't have to talk because they do. And so be of your performance on set, whether you're a cinematographer or an editor. You're not going to be on set, or sound mixer. But be someone who is doing your job, because you will get hired over and over again. One of my very good friends is a second AD, and she's like, "Oh, you're acting now?" She's like, "Ugh, I hate actors." I'm like, "Julie, oh God, I'm announcing her. No, I'm like, you know what I do. You know how I am." She's like, "Well, you're a worker. You're a working actor." And the thing is, like you've all said, be nice to everybody. Let your job speak for you. Don't be a jerk. And that's the best way we can represent our school, is just be there to do your job and no attitude.
Can I just add one thing? Sure. Lately, I've been listening to, and I know it sounds silly, but a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of great information on there, especially for somebody who loves to listen to things. And I listened to one this morning. Actually, it's How I Built This on NPR by Guy Raz, and he interviews all these people who are entrepreneurs and all different businesses. And the woman that I listened to was the head of Act One Employment Staffing Agency, the one I listened to this morning. And she said, you can't teach experience, you can't teach confidence, you can't teach common sense, you can't teach somebody that doesn't want to learn, and you can't teach someone that knows everything already. So that was great, because I think any job you go into, you kind of have to have that openness, it could go anywhere. So I thought that was just a good little morsel from this podcast.
As a matter of fact, I was going to share with you also one thing that I'm experiencing every night. I do an hour learning. No matter how good you are, you're always behind the technology. The technology is running, You need to give yourself time to learn.
What a great panel. I am so, so happy and so proud to be associated with you. Thank you so much.